Hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking to you about how I plan my unit, RI, Key Ideas and Details, Animals. So the very first thing I did to start my unit was pick the main standards that I was going to be focusing on in this unit, and that would be reading informational text, Key Ideas and Details Standards 1, 2, and 3. So once I had chosen those, I was able to write my name, and that would be the strand, reading informational text, the domain, key ideas and details, and the topic I'm going to be studying is animals. So once I had my standards in my name, I was able to move on to writing my big idea and essential questions. This was definitely the hardest part for me and took the longest amount of time. When you're writing your big idea and essential question, you want to make sure that you have no more than 3 big ideas and no more than 3 essential questions in order to really be able to dive deeply in your learning. For my big idea and essential question, I chose to only write one. For my big idea, I have life grows, changes, and it has tools to help them survive. So my big idea is focused around the topic I'm going to be studying and not necessarily the skills we are going to be learning. And then I wrote my essential question based off my big idea because I want my essential question to spark a discussion, to have multiple correct answers, and to answer my big idea. So my essential question is, why do animals grow and change? You want to make sure that when you're writing your essential question, it's open-ended and not a yes or no question. So once I was able to write my big idea and essential question, I actually moved on to writing kind of a rough plan for my unit. I wanted to pick the animals I was going to be studying, how long I wanted this unit to be, any activities or assessments that I really wanted to include. And so once I kind of had that rough outline, I did it on a piece of notebook paper. I was able to go back to my standards, and I chose more standards that I was going to be explicitly teaching and assessing in this unit. So all the standards I have listed are standards that I will be assessing at some point throughout this unit. So I included some more reading standards, standard 5 and 10. And then I included some writing standards and some language standards because at the end of this unit I'm going to be asking my kids to write an animal report about one of the animals we've studied throughout this unit. And I also included some speaking and listening skills because of all of the class discussions that we are going to be having throughout this unit. So once I had all of my standards, I moved on to writing my skills and content knowledge. I started with writing my skills. Skills are action verb centered, and it's really what are the kids going to be doing in order to master the standards you will be assessing. So in order to write my skills, I broke them up in reading, writing, speaking and listening, and language. And I actually used a skills bank that is provided on our professional learning website. So I went to our professional learning website, clicked on PL Plan. I scrolled down to skills by grade level, clicked on first grade, and then I picked on the strand I was going to be working on, which is reading informational text. And I looked at, it's broken up by standard. So I looked for all the standards I'd clicked in my standard section of my unit, and I read through the essential skills and concepts that they have listed in this skills bank. I did not use every skill that is listed under every standard because I wanted to make sure that the skills I listed in my unit are skills that I'm going to be explicitly teaching or expecting the kids to be able to do. So once I went through the skills bank, picked out the skills according to the standards that I had selected previously, I typed them all in here, and then I moved on to writing the content knowledge. Now the content knowledge is more noun centered, and it's kind of the key ideas that you will need in order to master the skills you have written. So I went back, read through the skills that I had already typed in, and pulled out the big nouns that I kept hearing repeated and type them into content knowledge. And I did that for reading, writing, speaking and listening, and language. I also included vocabulary that I would going to be explicitly teaching each week around the animal that we are learning. So that's why I have vocabulary listed here. Once I finished writing my skills and content knowledge, I moved on to looking at assessments. I kind of picked the assessments I was going to be using, and I was able to click the standards that I had selected previously and shows where exactly I'm assessing them throughout the unit. And then I moved on to the learning plan, and this is where I used that rough outline I had done on a piece of notebook paper and kind of typed it into my learning activities. I use a close read model, so I've broken mine into a routine that we use consistently in my class. And then I also separated it by week because I'm going to be doing a different animal each week. And so I've broken that up by weeks, included the vocabulary again, discussion questions, independent activities, the writing mini lessons I plan to focus on, and I also included the book that we would be using as our main text each week. And then at the bottom of the unit, you can see where I'm going to be doing the animal reports that I had previously talked about. So I hope this helps you in writing your unit. Thank you so much for watching.